Happy birthday, you flaming pile of garbage. The Last Jedi is 1 year old. Now, this isn't going to be another The Last Jedi sucks video. There's plenty of that. Hell, I'll link them in the description below. You can go through them. This is actually more about how The Last Jedi has affected my life in the years since its release. Before I made YouTube videos, I watched YouTube. Star Wars has been a lifelong passion of mine. Ever since I was like 3 years old. It was constantly around, and although I didn't appreciate its deeper aspects until I grew up a little bit, it was there, and it was entertaining, and there were gobs of toys everywhere, and, you know, the Force and Darth Vader. So when I started getting into YouTube, I was watching people like Star Wars Theory, The Stupendous Wave, and Star Wars Reading Club. And I used to watch Urban Acolytes, but I kind of fell off doing that. But, you know, peace be with them. I had all this constant stream of, like, stuff that I would already think about, but these guys are actually going out and making videos about it and stringing it together and making it look fucking cool. And before I started making videos myself, I was actually more active on Instagram. I had a 1911 appreciation page. And I had a couple of good friends that actually were also YouTubers on Instagram. So in the, let's call it the jump off from The Force Awakens leading into the build-up of The Last Jedi. Okay, now, The Force Awakens was not a perfect film, and actually, in retrospect, especially standing right next to The Last Jedi, I can't watch it anymore. It's too much of a letdown. But, when I go to watch movies, I don't go on the opening night, and it's because of the crowds. Now, I'm not, like, super antisocial. It's not like I don't want to hang out with people. It's just that, like, for movies like Star Wars, they're like a personal experience. And, like, I don't want to be sitting next to a crying kid, and I don't want people to be like, "Look out, there's a bad guy!" So, what I did is I like to usually hang back and go in the middle of the week, like during the day when not a lot of people are likely to be present. And in the process of hanging back, I was talking through the DMs on Instagram with my friends. One of the friends who actually has a YouTube channel is this guy named Murdering Mofo. Okay, he's a Marine Corps vet. Him and I have been talking for a few years, and we were both like giant Star Wars nerds. And he's like, "Hey, I just got back from this movie." And I was like, "Well, what the hell?" And he's like, "This movie sucks. It's not Luke Skywalker." And he's always been a forthright guy and the biggest Star Wars fan. And I was like, well, I'm going to go see it on Tuesday or whatever the fucking day it was. I'll get back with you. And sure enough, I actually fell asleep.
You fell asleep?
I fell asleep. And it was somewhere between the space battle, and I think I woke up around Canto Bight, because I remember seeing Benicio del Toro, and well, you guys know. I probably felt like you did. I left the theater deflated, and I was confused and emotional, and it didn't leave me feeling like a Star Wars movie should, okay? Because even at the end of Empire Strikes Back, when everything looks fucked up, there's still that little scene at the end where there's the hope. Okay. So I kind of like put my feelings in a pocket and took them home and started talking with my friend again. And I was like, yeah, you know, I kind of see what you meant. That shit's bonk and fuck it. Headcanon, right? We can always go with that. And then it started becoming like YouTube Revisited. Okay. The first channel that I saw that addressed this like disconnect was MAULER, and he did this epic like half hour video where he just tore it to pieces. And the more I started looking at it, I was like, this guy's right. This guy's right. And then after that, he made like 2 or 3 separate like 1 hour videos where he just like dissected the fuck out of it. And that was it. I was like, yeah, this is the truth. This is a terrible movie riddled with plot holes. Can't abide by it. And then I came across another channel called FANSTRIKE, and they had an IG page as well. They had a really good video on the LAST Jedi, and they tried to limit their video to 10 strikes, but they had so many strikes that they had to make 2 videos. And I actually ended up becoming friends with them on Instagram, and when I came over to YouTube, they really helpful in encouraging me and all that kind of stuff. We're actually going to do some collab stuff, so stay tuned. So after that, I mean, I continued watching, you know, Theory and Stupendous Wave and Reading Club and all that kind of stuff, because it kept that love for Star Wars alive in me, which will always be there. And even though some of them are more publicly vocal about their displeasure for The Last Jedi, it hasn't stopped their creative process, and they're not becoming like negative and all that kind of stuff. So I still watch them, and not to say that the people I'm about to name are negative, but they are pointing out a very important truth. The first person I found in this category, this new category, was that Star Wars girl. You know, now the first thing you think whenever you see her channel is like, wow, she's hot. But then like you start listening to what she's saying and the passion with which she explains it, and you're like, yeah, this girl knows her shit, and she's right, you know. And then it's funny because I found these guys like separately all around the same time, and they all ended up being in this same confederation. Right after that, I found Geeks and Gamers. You know, Jeremy has a mouth on him, but he's fucking right most of the time. And when he's not right, he's prepared to eat shit, and that's all you can expect from a man. You know, I respect that. Then through Jeremy, I found Ivan Ortega and his project to fix The Last Jedi, and salivating for that one, brother. Can't wait for more updates on that. Also through Jeremy, I found Mindless Entertainment. She is a firecracker. She'll go off. She'll bark like a pit bull. Good times. And then quite separately, I found Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I've been a comic book fan probably about as long as I've been a Star Wars fan. I actually used to draw comics like a long time ago. Not professionally, but just for myself and for my friends. So seeing like a guy who's willing to be like, yeah, here's how to draw and here's how to do this. But then at the same time, he starts cutting off like Rose Tico's head and, you know, running over shit with his car. And I'm just like, okay. This is a guy I could probably have a beer with, and, you know. And then, of course, World Class. World Class was really famous for going to toy stores and pointing out the piles and piles and piles of unsold Star Wars, the sequel trilogy toys. And that's something I noticed too. Yeah, I would always go to like Toys R Us, rest in peace, and check out the Star Wars aisle just to see if there's, you know, like honestly I was looking for like Darth Vader, but I kept on seeing like Why are there so many Jyn Ersos? Why are there so many fucking Reys and, you know, like people I didn't care about? You know, I wanted Darth Vader, I wanted Han Solo, wanted R2. Couldn't find them. The Darth Vader I could find was like 3 feet tall and cost like $120. I can't afford that. I have a Darth Vader back there. It's a Black Series Darth Vader. It was like $30, and even that was kind of like having me going like, "Ugh." But it was necessary. Had to do it. Then I found DOOMCOCK. He's a good guy. He always banters back and forth with his audience, and really takes time to like address people personally, even though he's like the most sinister overlord waiting to unleash. But it's like one of those things. It's probably like the people who are under the thumb of a dictator think he's a benevolent dictator. So we'll have to see what he does when he gets out of the center of the earth and unleashes his robots and poisonous reptile bats. And then through DOOMCOCK, people like Mecha Random 42 and NERDROTIC. Because there's always been a schism between Star Wars and Star Trek, and I never understood that because I enjoyed both. And it was kind of like the Beatles Stones thing. You either had to pick one or the other. No, fuck it. I like them both for different reasons. But on some levels, they have similar messages. So it's like I can scratch my Star Wars side over here and my Star Trek side over here and find some place in the middle. But what all these channels have in common is that there is a problem with society that is being reflected in the creation of entertainment. And it mostly has to do with the social justice NPC people invading old properties instead of inventing their own and trying to retcon it into some sort of like hashtag talking point that they, you know, sip their cocoa and talk about on Twitter. And fine if you want to do that, just don't do that with my movie, okay? Star Wars is my movie. That's how all of us feel. That's my movie. Don't fuck it up. It's like a sacred fucking chalice, and you're just gonna spit in it, and piss in it. Not on my watch. And when I saw the approach that these people were taking, it really lit a fire up under my ass. There are problems with society, and the only way that we can fix it is to address it and then do something about it. So all these guys are taking care of the addressing it part. Ivan's taking care, and EVS. They're taking care of the fixing it side. Because, like, okay, maybe we don't have like $50 bazillion to go shoot our own movie, but we can do our own thing on our own outside of that system. And honestly, I would rather pay for content from people like that who feel like we do and are just as creative. And honestly, we're influenced by the very things that these NPC SJW people are seeking to destroy. But they're bringing it back with purity. So, you know, I'd like to say thank you to The Last Jedi in a weird way. Because as terrible as a movie that was, it brought us all together. My name's Immortal Coil. Like, subscribe, ding the bell, drop me a comment. Let me know what you want to see covered on future editions of Savage Spirituality. And share the video if it touched your heart. Alright guys, we'll talk to you later.